Ozymandias, written by Percy Bysshe Shelley, was published in the 11th January 1818 issue of the Examiner, a weekly intellectual journal, and is the result of a competition with the poet Horace Smith. The pair both wrote sonnets based on a passage from the writings of the Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, who described a massive Egyptian statue and quoted the inscription that appeared below it. The choice of the subject for their competition is believed to have been inspired by the news of the British Museum's acquisition of the head and upper torso of a statue of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II in 1817. The statue did not actually arrive in London until 1821, so it would seem that Shelley's description of it is imagined rather than actual. The poem explores the theme of hubris. Coming from the ancient Greek, the word hubristic describes a person who is foolishly proud and arrogant. This leads the person to behave in a dangerously confident manner, which in turn brings about their downfall. The main purpose of the poem is, therefore, to provide a moral lesson, that tyranny and the pride of man is powerless in the face of time. Even the legacies of the most powerful are mocked, as they are reduced to little more than dust. Ozymandias is the Greek name for the pharaoh Ramesses II, who ruled ancient Egypt for 66 years from 1279 BC, and is widely regarded as the most powerful ruler of the Egyptian Empire. Much of his early reign is thought to have been consumed by an almost obsessive building of monuments, temples and cities, which were meant as physical reminders of his power and greatness. Not only did they memorialise his honour, they also symbolised his almost divine nature. The most iconic of his buildings still standing are the temples at Abu Simbel, which both memorialise Ramesses II and his wife Nefertari, and commemorate his victory at the Battle of Kadesh in 1275 BC. The poem loosely follows the structure of a Petrarchan sonnet. It has 14 lines divided into an octave, 8 lines, and a sestet, 6 lines, and has a base metre of iambic pentameter, didum, 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 didum. Shelley varies this rhythm with the substitution of trochaic feet, with a dum-di stress pattern, dactylic feet, with a dum-diddy stress pattern, and anapaestic feet, with a diddy-dum stress pattern. This more closely mimics a natural speech rhythm than pure iambic pentameter, and helps to bring the story told by the unnamed traveller to life. This is further enhanced by its rhyme scheme, which follows an A, B, A, B, A, C, D, C, E, D, E, F pattern, which is not as strict as that required by traditional sonnets. Shelley makes use of slant rhyme, lines 2 and 4, stone with frown, and pararhyme in lines 9, 11 and 13 to allow appear to rhyme with despair, which in turn has a single rhyme with bear, rather than full rhyme to give the poem a sense of cohesion as well as a more natural conversational feel. The poem's beginning is intriguing. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, the words traveller and antique land suggest a tale of far-off, exotic and mysterious countries, which is further enhanced by the traveller being an unnamed stranger. The word antique here is used to mean ancient, and so refers to ancient Egypt. The enjambment, where there is no punctuation at the end of a line, on the first line gives the poem momentum from the very start, as we are launched into the tale that he has to tell. The image of a pair of legs without a body, in lines 3 and 4, is visually arresting and bizarre, enhanced by the use of a trochee, dum-di, at the beginning of line 4, to draw attention to the fact that they are the only parts to remain upright. 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. The factual tone of this description suggests none of the awe that a contemporary of Ramesses would have felt when looking up at the monument. The stone legs have become decontextualized objects with nothing around them to give them meaning. The word stone tells us that we are looking at a statue, and its state of ruin becomes more evident as the poet goes on to tell us that its broken face is lying nearby. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies. Its features can still be made out, however, and these three facial descriptions, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command, effectively build up a picture of a fierce and ruthless ruler that has been skillfully captured by its sculptor. The alliteration of the hard k sound and the consonance of the hard d sounds at the ends of the words link cold with command and enhance the idea of a pharaoh who is both hard and uncompromising. The traveller praises the sculptor for his skill. Tell that it sculptor well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. Note the sibilants in these lines which add to the forcefulness communicated by the word stamped. The word stamped also suggests the superficiality of the carving, though, and lifeless things links back to the factual tone of the first description, which enhances the sense that these are now merely stones, devoid of any life. The generic word things reveals that the stones have lost any identity that they had. The use of synecdoche, where a part is used to signify the whole, in the lines, "the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed," makes the link between the creation of these artworks, here the hand represents the sculptor, and the feeding of the ego of the pharaoh, represented by the heart. Here the word mocked communicates its less frequently used meaning, that of imitating or replicating, and suggests that the sight of his likeness and his most fearsome facial expressions so masterfully executed by the artist filled the self-exalting pharaoh with pride and a sense of vanity. Shelley has used only one sentence for the description of this shattered visage, which stretches from the middle of line 3 to the end of line 8. This, coupled with the use of enjambment, give the description a sense of momentum and almost breathless excitement. At line 9, we have the volta, or turning point in the poem, which often signals a change of mood or shift in perspective. As the description of the shattered statue continues, we reach the pedestal upon which the sculptor has carved the words, "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." Here the pharaoh is boldly exhorting those who look upon his statues, monuments, temples, and cities to see them as an embodiment of his divine power, and, as a consequence, to lose all hope and surrender. Notice the uncharacteristic 11-syllable line, "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings." It seems fitting that the words of the man himself, declaring his ultimate power, cannot be contained within the structural limitations of the sonnet form. This extra syllable is provided by a cretic foot, with a dum-de-dum stress pattern. The stress on king and kings emphasises his sense of his own importance. Ironically, of course, time has eroded all, and nothing beside remains. This sentence is short, sharp, and factual, and makes us see the dramatic irony in his words. The word nothing is a trochee, with a dum-de stress pattern, and this first stressed syllable helps to emphatically destroy his self-made image. Indeed, we should look on his works, or lack of them, and despair, but not in the way he intended. If time has reduced the legacy of such a powerful man to nothing, what hope is there for the rest of us? The expressions on his face and his words carved so well by the sculptor, only served to mock him, in the more common usage of the word, now as the statue is an empty and powerless, colossal wreck, surrounded by an expanse of nothingness. His boastfulness and vanity now seem almost pathetic. Notice the use of the capital W of wreck, which links it back to works, and reminds us of this transformation. The final two lines distance us from the remains of the statue as we see it in the context of its surroundings. The adjectives boundless and bare, linked by plosive alliteration, which is built on by the further alliterated pair of adjectives lone and level to describe the desert sands, convey a sense of infinite nothingness and desolation. Thanks for watching. I'd really appreciate any questions or comments below. I look forward to hearing from you.